I'm one of the two directors that'll be on the bill, if you will, for our next hour here at beautiful Indian Ladder Farms. For those of you who are new to Classic Theater Guild or our productions, this is our 5th year here at Indian Ladder Farms. We have a great season ahead of us after our festival. We have auditions for our upcoming show, The Crucible, on the 1st and 2nd of August, and The Miracle on 34th Street is going to be September 1st and 2nd, and you can find all of our information at classictheaterguild.org. As far as our shows are concerned, our first show is Anastasia Raising, which is a beautiful story about Anastasia that you're going to hear a lot more that you probably didn't quite know about her, written and directed by Mr. Ed Bablin. Our second group is the Durang Hour, which is 2 one-act plays by playwright Christopher Durang, which I actually directed myself. Between both pieces, we will not have any kind of intermission, so please just stay right in your seats. We'll go from one show to the next, that type of idea as far as that is concerned. Please turn off your cell phones or any kind of devices like that, because it can be a little bit distracting to not just the audience, but the performers on stage. We do have a 50-50 raffle, and we also will have a gift basket in the back with a lot of good loot that's back there, as well as concessions, and all of that will be available after the Durang Hour, which then will precede The Tempest, which will be at 8 o'clock this evening right here at beautiful Indian Ladder Farms for our Helderberg Theater Festival. And if you're here only to see one or two of the pieces right now, please come back because we have our festival running through next Sunday night. So sit back, relax, make some noise, and enjoy Anastasia Raising. Thank you.
On the morning of July 19th, 1918, in Ekaterinburg, Russia, at 49 Vosnesenski Prospect, a small leather suitcase was taken and put on a train. It was guarded by dozens of guards and put in the basement of the Museum of the October Revolution. I've always known it as St. Basil's Cathedral. It was thought to be so dangerous it could never be opened. In fact, in typical Russian style, it officially didn't exist. So there it remained, in the basement of the Museum of the October Revolution. There it stayed, almost forgotten for 75 years, until one day, the Museum of the October Revolution became St. Basil's Cathedral again, and a visitor stumbled upon this old, weather-beaten suitcase and opened it. In it was a photo album, my photo album. In the photo album was a small, yellow-pressed flower. So delicate, so fragile, you could barely see the words on the page. I can remember pressing that flower and putting it there. I put it there in 1913. The words on the page: "Greetings from Schwabiznik." On June 5th, 1901, Monsieur Philippe promised my daddy I would be a boy. And so, my mother would walk about the palace 12 times every full moon while carrying me. Monsieur Philippe was sure this would happen, but the Frenchman was wrong. I am, as you can see, a girl. To save face, he told Mommy and Daddy that the birth of a daughter instead of a son only proves the girl will have an unusual destiny. I am Anastasia, and I would like to tell you an unusual story. My story. It's a good Russian story, as long as winter, yet as beautiful and sad as all good stories are. They even say the difference between a Russian comedy and a Russian tragedy is a Russian comedy is sad but beautiful, and a Russian tragedy is beautiful but sad. I like Russian stories. They're part myth, part truth, and it's the hope of truth in them that makes you feel happy. Father says that all good stories are Russian, even when they are written by non-Russians. I like stories. My sister Olga gave me her book about The Princess and the Goblin, about a beautiful princess, an evil goblin, a magic ring, and the spirit of a great-grandmother who watches over and protects her. My father's like that. He is Tsar, and Tsar means he is anointed by God to protect all the motherland of Holy Russia. Oh, please excuse me. I forgot to introduce myself. I am Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia. In Russian, you pronounce it Velikaya Knazhnya Anastasia Nikolaevna Romanova, but that's a mouthful, so just call me Schwabiznik. I'm the youngest daughter of Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, Tsar of all the Russias. My mother is Alexandra Fyodorovna. I was named Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia, not to be confused with Anastasia Romanova, Princess Anastasia, Countess de Torbay, Princess Anastasia of Montenegro, or Grand Duchess Anastasia Mikhailovna of Russia, who, I must confess, I'm related to all of them, but I haven't really met most of them. I was named after Grand Duchess Anastasia Mikhailovna of Russia, who, after attending my name day, I never saw again. I learned later that she had a terrible scandal, but mother says that there are scandalous people in this world and they're not appropriate for young Grand Duchesses, to which I would respond, but Mother, isn't she a Grand Duchess? Wherein Mother would get all red in the face and send me to my room. I didn't mean to upset Mother, it's just, there's so much to know and so much to learn. I want to travel, to see things, to paint, to take pictures with a camera. I never seem to see more than my family or the Inner Imperial Guards. Don't get me wrong, I love my sisters and my father. I share a room with my sister Maria. Olga and Tatiana are right next door. Maria and I actually made birds made out of crepe paper, and when the wind catches them, they look like they could fly in the wind. I mostly play with Maria. We go to a tree fort. It's on an island in the middle of a lake behind our house. We dress up dolls there and play with tea. She likes to play with dolls more than I, though. She once said to me she would like to have 20 babies. I think that's too many, don't you? I think I'd be content with just one or two. Sometimes I play with my older sisters, but they're very bossy. They're always trying to tell me what to do, and I don't like it when people try to tell me what to do. One day, I was in my sister's room. Olga and Tatiana were there as well. I was minding my own business, just pressing all the white keys at the same time on the piano and digging in my nose with my left hand, and Olga came over and tried to slap me. What gave her the right to do that? So that was a wonderful summer. That year, it was the 300th anniversary of our family. We traveled to all the Russian towns, and everywhere we went, there would be great crowds of people cheering and waving. There were so many parties and big grand dances. I love to dance. We got to wear these big white dresses with blue satin sashes and dance with tall officers. Father says that a good Russian loves to dance because it is in our blood. I am a good Russian, and I love a good waltz by Tchaikovsky. That year, we got to dance all the time. Tall officers in full-dress uniforms would spin us round and round until we felt dizzy. Then, we would go down the balcony and have I'm embarrassed to say it. We'd have a cigarette. Yes, I know I was only 12, but everyone was doing it. I can even remember the first time Maria and I snuck into Daddy's office and opened his cigarette box. That's Daddy's cigarette box, I said. Yes, she said. You want to smoke one? There was a little voice in my head saying, don't, you'll get caught. But of course, I did it anyways. I took a big puff and exhaled. And then I coughed and I coughed, but then I smiled. Because I got away with it. I played with the smoke in my mouth, pushing it about, and then feet. Big feet. I looked up from those feet. Then I saw Daddy. Only he didn't look like Daddy. He was looking very much like the Tsar of all the Russias. And when we got that look, we knew we were in trouble. I must confess, I got that look a lot. Like the times that I would put rocks into snowballs and throw them at Olga. Well, she called me a shorty. Or the times at state dinners when I would just stuff my food under the table. Never liked state dinners anyways. They were so closed, so claustrophobic. You had to wear these big white heaving dresses with corsets, and they were so tight, you felt like you couldn't breathe. Eating was out of the question, so I had to do something with the food. I was never as elegant as Olga, the oldest, or Tatiana, the prettiest. I am the Shvabiznik, which means emperor troublemaker. I never thought of making trouble, though. Things just seem to happen to me. And nobody seems to get hurt. Anyways, I really can honestly say I do love my family. I'm glad that Olga's the oldest, and I couldn't imagine a world where Tatiana wasn't the prettiest, and if Maria wants to have 20 babies, well, that's okay too. In a way, we were, my sisters and I, together. Sometimes we'd know what each other were thinking or finish each other's thoughts. We even signed our letters OTMA. That stands for Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia. We also had our own code language that we all knew and spoke to each other. I'm afraid I can't tell you any of it. It's a secret. Well, I just can't resist. I'll give you 2 words, just 2. Word 1, medicine, and word 2, potato. That's it, that's all, don't ask for any more. We had to use the code. There were things we couldn't talk about, not with anyone. You have to remember, living with Mommy and Daddy, there were always people around us. Servants or soldiers. Like when we had to wait for Gregory to come. Rasputin. I was climbing the rocks outside of Gochnia. That's our summer house on the Black Sea. I wanted to see the waves from a distance, so I went off. I got about halfway up when I realized there was a crowd of people standing up at me. Mommy was there, and Daddy was there too. Except Daddy wasn't smiling. He was looking like the Tsar of all the Russias. So I looked up. And there was my baby brother Alexei, about 20 feet away from me. He was only 4 at the time. I stopped, and I must confess, I was angry. It's not like I asked him to come, but there he was, high on the rocky ledge. To our right, there was about a 200-foot drop. I stopped, and I must confess, I was angry, and then baby brother Alexei stopped as well. Soon the drama was over, and baby brother was rescued. I, of course, had to get down all by myself. Couldn't anyone notice me? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I was still angry, but Father explained to me that baby brother has a secret that we must never tell. Not to anyone. You see, he can never get a cut or anything because he can never stop bleeding. This seemed to cause Mother and Father quite a bit of worry. That is, until Gregory came along. Mother said that he's a saint to save us. I guess that's all good, but I do wish he would take a bath once in a while. He does smell. I'll tell you about my dog. Her name's Artino. She's a Cocker Spaniel with a white nose and black paws. She's so sweet. She loves dinner. They bring Alexei a bunch of different samples to taste, and we all go and gobble them up. They're so delicious. We were sitting with Mother after dinner one time. The dogs were running about, barking loudly. She was to receive Maklakov at 9, and Malama was coming too, which is very pleasant. I took that picture of myself looking at the mirror. It was very hard as my hands were trembling. I remember that day. Isn't it odd how you seem to remember? Some days better than others. I remember that day because that's when the war started. Daddy would have to go and leave us for long periods of time, but we wrote to him a lot. Dear Daddy, I had 7 classes today, and tomorrow I will only have 4 or 5. I'm taking a Russian class now, and Peter Alexeyevich is reading Turgenev's The Hunter's Notes to us. Mother is sleeping, and sisters are lying. Tatiana is out. Of course, as usual. Artino and I are lying in Mother's bed and sleeping. She is such a darling. Dear Daddy, thank you so much for allowing us to use your bath. We bathed there yesterday. It was such fun. I was the first to go. There was so much water. I was able to swim about and then jump down from the sides. I was able to play for quite some time, and then Maria got in. But unfortunately, I had to get out soon. Artino was running about this whole time and barking like a mad dog. Olga and Tatiana went after us, and they also enjoyed themselves. Mother already has the flowers you like in her room. You know, those yellow ones right outside of Grandmother's window. They've just opened. I took one and I pressed it in a book for a keepsake. Tomorrow is Sunday. He's so good. To not have any lessons for a day when you can just lie about in bed longer than usual. I do miss dear Artino. I still have those cigarettes you gave me, and sometimes I smoke them with pleasure, and thank you very much. Mine and Maria's bed is in the middle of the room. It is better to sleep there. Sometimes we open the window and it becomes very pleasant and comfortable. We've had a few classes out on Mother's balcony, and we even had one out in the garden while they were leaving the wire for the lamp there. Yesterday, the three of us, the little ones, so to speak, went to Anya's hospital. Went to a concert at Anya's hospital. We got to see a small 10-year-old girl dancing a Russian folk dance. She looked so sweet, and yet I felt a sort of pity for her. De Lazare was there as usual, as well as Yuri Morvsy, Sasha Makarov, and Lursky. Oh, God, he told such a funny story about a drawing lesson that all the soldiers cried from laughter. And then he told one about playing the piano on 3 different rooms, on 3 different floors, and how it all sounded for someone who listened. And that was also very funny. And finally, he told us about the zoo. At this time, I think Olga and Tatiana were at their hospital as well. They got to see a concert there. The Furzins, the Bezobrazovs, some young ladies, and a bunch of other people were playing the balalaikas there. Maria and I are playing musical instruments now. She plays the piano. Well, I play the balalaika. We actually sound pretty good, but we sound better when Olga plays with us. And tell Alexei that I can play the balalaika just as well as the sisters. Yours forever, Anastasia. The weather is still nasty. It rains nearly every day. One day in February, I saw a bunch of people out at the gate. Olga, who were all those people out at the gate? Do you remember that one day when you saw a little boy and girl out at the gate and you wanted to go play with them, but the soldiers wouldn't let you? They looked so afraid. The Russian people are afraid of us, but they are afraid no longer because Daddy is no longer Tsar. That's silly. Daddy is always Tsar and he is always our father. Father of all the Russias. He will watch over and protect us. No, she said. He is no longer Tsar and we are no longer Grand Duchesses. Mother and Olga seemed to be very upset about this. They even went to the guards to go plead with them to stay the night, but they wouldn't. They ran away. They were so afraid. But to be honest with you, I wasn't afraid. I was overjoyed. This meant I no longer had to wear crowns. I no longer had to wear those big white heaving dresses. I could answer the question I longed to answer. Who am I? I could be free. Mother told us to learn English because that's where we would be going. To England. Good, I thought. I can go and be an actress or a photographer. The soldiers came and got all our things in the middle of the night. Daddy told me not to be afraid. I'll tell you how we traveled. When we got onto the train, I went to sleep. As did everyone else. We were very tired because we got no sleep the night before. The first day was very hot and very dusty. They told us not to open the windows because they didn't want anyone to see us. But one day I opened the windows anyways, and this little boy came up to my window. Uncle, please give me, if you have got, a newspaper. I said, I am not an uncle but an auntie, and I have no newspaper. At first I was very confused. Why did that little boy call me uncle? And then I realized that my hair was cut short and the soldiers and I, which were standing right next to me, laughed very much. Now, there are plenty more funny stories like this, and if I have time, I shall write to you about them all. Goodbye. Don't forget me. Many kisses from us all to you, my darling. If you go to the Alexander Palace today, you'll see a doll in a glass case. The caption reads, "One of the Grand Duchess's dolls." It's in a glass case to protect it from the air. And next to it, my dresses of white and pink, they're also in glass cases to prevent their destruction. In a way, they are, as I am, forever preserved at the palace. Is this who I am? Is this the sum of my life, to be a doll in a glass case? I decide then and there that no, I will be myself. And so we go off to Siberia, and I thought it could be the beginning of a new life for me. At first, things were not too different. We still had our lessons, and Marie and I still performed plays. The soldiers did not treat us badly. In fact, they treated us kindly. And I started to hope. But then something changed suddenly. There were different soldiers. They called us enemies of the people. Daddy said that they were afraid. Why were all the Russian people afraid of us? I thought that if I knew who I was, then they wouldn't have to be afraid. Cold and lonely, feeling all the fear around me. The soldiers aren't in uniforms anymore. Now they wear black leather jackets only. They were guarding the people's enemies now. Now I can feel it. Mother's constantly living in dread. She says something's going to happen to us all the time. My chest feels heavy. Heavy with dread. I have to get it out. There was a girl named Evelyn who had just died. She was sitting in her coffin, very pretty. Nothing had changed, and even the flower that she had gathered stood in its glass vase, but was just beginning to fade. When she died, she was only 16 years old. There was a man who loved her without having known her, but he loved her very much. And she had heard of him. He never could tell her that he loved her, and now she was dead. But still, he thought that when he and she lived their next lives, whenever that would be, no, that will not be me. That will not be me. I will find out who I am first. I was lying in bed on a hot summer night, thinking about writing. Yes, I'll be a writer. I hear the men in leather jackets talking to Daddy. Marie and I are lying in the grass in front of the balcony. Yesterday, the four of us made a fire and jumped over it. It was wonderful. They told us to get dressed and to go. In the middle of the night. They're showing films to the wounded soldiers today, and I am very happy as we go. Marie and I rock in the hammock, and she overturns me, and each time I fall down right on my face. We were led down to the cellar. Olga and Marie and I ride our bicycles around the room at full speed. She tries to catch up to me and vice versa. Sometimes we fall down, but we're still alive. Lessons are over now, and I'm off to the balcony to see if Mother and Sisters are back yet. Though I don't know if they are. We wait for the men in leather jackets to come down. They're all holding guns. off to go celebrate the 2nd anniversary of the hospital. I'm very happy as we go, and Mother is as well. She actually met your friend Lursky, and she liked him. The men say something to Daddy about the People's Committee. But I'm not listening. You can hear Olga's cat running about here now. You can tell it's her because she has a little silver bell around her neck that's attached by a blue ribbon. Mother makes the sign of the cross, and Father says, "Forgive them. They know not." Normally we have breakfast in the dining room, but we had tea in our bedrooms this morning. We all have our pistols now, and we like to shoot very much. Sometimes in the evening after dinner, we go into the corner room and shoot at each other in the darkness. Sometimes Alexia is afraid and does not enter the room. Yes. Yes. I'll be remembered as a great Russian writer, like Chekhov or Tolstoy. The men in the leather jackets opened fire on us. And at that exact moment, I can answer the question, who am I? 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 That's the end of my story. Oh, I can see by your faces you really don't want it to end. I completely understand. Father says that a good story never really ends. Very well then. I will give you 2 endings. 2 alternatives around which 2 myths are built. I do this under one condition. You have your choice, but you must accept all one or the other, completely and with your soul. You cannot accept parts of one and parts of another. Very well then. We'll begin with the ending myth, or the myth of despair, called Evelyn's Despair. Myth is the most powerful tool you have. It is more powerful than any army or human being could ever be. Myth shapes us, makes us, inspires us to do great things. And yet it can push us to do some truly evil things. The men who shot me and my father were afraid and truly acted out of fear, but what happened next was, well, there's an old Russian saying that goes, "You can catch the devil, but you cannot hold him long." That night, the devil was let loose in Russia and in the world. The devil said that Jews led the executioners. At night, the devil went one step further and said that Jews killed the imperial family. The imperial family of Holy Russia. The devil gave power to the Nazis, and soon the words turned into mass extermination. This is only a story, and I do not believe it, yet some do. And as long as some do, it is kept alive. I will try as I might to explain to you, but you cannot understand myth unless you understand God. I am, as I said, a girl with an unusual destiny. There is another myth. Let's call this one the myth of hope. Or Evelyn's hope. The men in the leather jackets open fire on me, and at that exact moment I can answer the question, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? 12 bullets hit my chest. And 12 bullets bounce off my chest. But the words keep running through my head.